like
questions,
that.
Craig. Yeah, Kirk.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Um,
All right. So what happened? How long ago when you got shot and stuff?
it was October 2nd of 1995. I was working at a mobile gas station in Rancho. Guys came in trying to rob the place, basically. Long story short. So I didn't know they were there at the time. I was in the cooler, stocking the shelves, and they knocked on the window. I saw that it was people at the door, so I came around through the garage to walk to the front door to tell them to wait till I get to the room to unlock the door or see what they wanted, basically. And I just heard shots ring out, pa 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 pa, and next thing I know, I was laying on the ground. One of the bullets hit my spinal cord, so I was paralyzed immediately. So I had to crawl. The guys came after they shot me. They came to the window to try, or the door to try to open it, but it was locked. So basically, they just shot me and left because they couldn't get in to get the money. So they left. So there I was, shot for no reason. Basically, they didn't get anything out of it, and I'm crawling around the store trying to get to a phone. But in the gas station, all the phones were wall mounted. They're all on the walls, and from that moment on, I'm paralyzed. So I couldn't reach any of the phones. I could reach the little spirally cord that came down from them, but I couldn't get to the receiver to actually push the button, push the numbers 911. So I tried to crawl into the my little bulletproof box to where the cash register is and stuff to get to a phone that's on the counter. And I couldn't reach that one either. The counter was too high. I pulled the phone by the cord down, but the cord, the little plug came out the back of the phone, so it didn't work. So then I went and crawled, and I got to the other phone. Same thing, I pulled it by the cord to try to get the receiver to fall off so I can push the buttons, and that came out of the wall also, and it just wasn't working. So I remember there was a phone in the desk in the back room, so I crawled back there, and I couldn't get to that phone either because it was on the desk and it was pushed all the way back to the wall. I couldn't figure out a way to get to it with my torso. I was basically doing like a handstand and trying to do stuff with the phone, or trying to reach with the phone and dial at the same time. It just wasn't working. So by that time I was losing a lot of blood and losing consciousness, and I had to get smart because I didn't have much time, and there was only one more phone left, so I had basically one more shot at it. So I was in the garage part of the shop of the mobile gas station, and I found a creeper that the mechanics used to go into the car. So I grabbed the creeper and I shoved it underneath my body so it'd make it easier for me to roll around and get to the phones. So I rolled around to the front of the store again. I knew I only had one shot, so I grabbed the broomstick handle. I knocked the receiver off with the broomstick handle, and then I dialed 911 with that same broomstick handle. And luckily, like I knocked the thing off, I dialed, and then I picked up the phone to see if it was ringing. Luckily, it worked, and the phone rang, and I got 911, and they came on out. But this was all, that whole process took probably about a good 45 minutes.
Wow.
And I was bleeding out of 10 holes. So I lost a lot of blood by the time they got there. And when they got there, ironically, the fireman that showed up was my girlfriend's grandfather. I didn't know him and he didn't know me, but he was a chief fireman on duty, so he was there. And we found out later that he said when he got there, I found out that was my girlfriend's grandfather. She went to tell her grandfather, my boyfriend got shot. I'm going to the hospital to see him. And he's like, well, where did he get shot at? So she told him, the gas station. He said, last night? And she said, yeah. And he's like, that guy's not dead? She said, no. He's all, and her grandfather's words were, when I saw him, he said he wasn't going to make it. He's like, ain't no way. He's like, I said this guy's going to die. And and yet I didn't die. I made it. So he was amazed. He actually threw me a party when I got out the hospital because he was just so shocked that I even made it through. So they airlifted me to the hospital, and then I underwent 11 surgeries. 8 while I was in the hospital, 3 when I got out the hospital, and it's been 15 years now, and I'm slowly getting better. Still getting better. I was in a wheelchair for probably about 3 years. I couldn't feel my legs or move my legs. I couldn't do much. It was a tough time. But after lots of prayer and lots of physical therapy, I was able to start moving my legs and walking again.
What was that like? What was the first time like you just like, whoa, I feel something, like I'm able to move? Like, what was that experience like? Like, do you remember that day?
I remember that. When I was in the hospital, right after I got shot, and I didn't know at the time that I was paralyzed. Well, I knew I was paralyzed, but I didn't know anything about spinal cord injuries. So I didn't know that if your spinal cord's hurt, I guess it's common sense now, but I didn't know if your spinal cord was hurt, that's it. I thought they were just like any other nerves or something. It takes time for them to heal, and then you get everything back. So I didn't know that if your spinal cord is severed, there's basically no healing. There's very slim chance that nerves regenerate and you're able to move again. So I was sitting in the bed probably about 3 months after 3 months of being in the hospital, and I was sitting there, and I was able to basically just make my leg twitch. And I was trying to move it, and it moved. And I was like, oh crap. And I remember my dad was in the room. I was like, look, Dad, look. And I did it again, and he was like, do it again. And I did it again, and we were all like, we started crying, we were all happy. I was like, I did it. I moved my foot. And so that was a good day. It was a really good day. It gave me hope that I was going to be able to walk again and move my legs. But it was a long process. From that little twitch, it took at least another, like I said, I was in the wheelchair for 3 years because that little twitch obviously is not strong enough to sustain my body weight. So it took me 3 years of constant physical therapy after I got out of the hospital to be able to walk, and not walk unassisted. I had to walk with braces, a walker, had 2 long leg braces and a walker to assist me with walking. So it was tough, and that's the way it started. So from there it started losing the apparatuses. I went from a long leg brace to a short leg brace to an ankle brace on one side, and then I did the same on the other side after a while. But like I said, it was a process of over 15 years, and nowadays I just use an ankle support on both my ankles, and that's it.
And what did the doctors like initially tell you at the beginning? Whether they were like,
they told me
don't even try, dude.
Yeah, they told me I'd never walk again. I remember that the doctor was really just cold. I rolled up one day, I was in my wheelchair, I was doing physical therapy. I came from doing physical therapy. I went to the doctor, and I was like, hey doctor, so when am I going to start walking? Because I haven't been able to do anything yet. And he just looked down, like, not even really looked at me. He just kind of like looked down out the corner of his eyes, and he's like, you're not. And he went on talking to his other doctors, and I was like, huh? No, well, I want to know when I'm going to start walking. And he's like, you're not going to walk. You have spinal cord injury. You're never going to walk again. And I remember I was just crushed. I was like, I went to my little room and I just cried because I was like, I didn't know. I was like, are you what? I didn't, like I said, I didn't know. I was just shocked. That was bad. I hated that doctor from there on out too, because I was like, how could he be so cold just to say it like that? It hurt. So. But from that point, I think it was the next day on, I was determined to prove him wrong. I was like, I can't spend my life in a wheelchair. I have to try. So I prayed and I went for it. I wouldn't stop until I would walk. And I'm walking now with a cane, but I'm there, getting there.